surgical nurse. And so I had their children for 3.5 years, along with my 5. And I said, Lord, I need some help here. How can I get my work done and take care of them at the same time? And he gave me this advice. Give them the first hour of the day. Do everything with them. We would sing songs. We would have coloring contests. We would do a craft of some kind. A lot of times I'd go down to the store and get cardboard boxes and maybe make a car or a train out of it or whatever. Or play cowboys and Indians or whatever. But for that 1 hour, they had every bit of my attention. So that left me time to get my housework done and get the other things done that needed to be done. Another thing that he gave me advice on was when you do your dishes after you've made the meal, don't put the dishes back in the cupboard, reset the table. Then you're one step ahead for the next meal, all right? And so it'd really be funny because sometimes somebody would come over to visit and they'd say, your table's already set. You know, I said, yeah, that's something that the Lord showed me to do, is to reset the table. Another thing is use your best on your children. They're the best guests you'll ever have. Mm-hmm. If you've got some special china or glasses or whatever, use them on your children. They're the best guests you're ever going to have. So it helps them to see that, hey, they are important to you more than anybody strange that comes into the house. How many mothers here have children that ride the bus? Do any of them ride the bus? Mm-hmm. Tammy does. And one of the things that the Lord showed me about the ones that were on the bus, you can't imagine what all happens on a school bus. Mm-hmm. Some of them are chewing gum and throwing it into somebody else's hair, okay? Or they're doing all kinds of things. And with Lori and Matt, they were the first ones on the bus and the last ones off the bus. And so it would be like 4:30 before they'd get home. And I always had the table set and food ready. And it's like, oh, we're home, you know, finally, because of all the stuff that happens on the school bus, you know, and at school. It just makes it nice for them to walk in and say, what are we having for supper? You know, what are we having for supper? Oh, it smells good. What are we having for supper? You know, keeps them from piecing on junk food and filling up on that. How many here have children that are teenagers? Mm-hmm. Anyone? Yeah. Yeah. With teenagers, you want to have an open communication with them, where they know that you can sit and talk to them, share stuff with them. They can tell you about things that are happening during the day, what all's going on. And if they have a crisis or a problem in their life, you want to be the one that they come to first. When I used to tell the kids, if you decide to run away from home, don't use your quarter or whatever you're called to call me. Call somebody else, because you left because I wasn't answering whatever it was that you needed. When Scott was little one time, I think he was about 9 or 10, he decided he was going to run away from home, or he was going to leave. And I said, well, you don't want to leave without some food. So I made him some food in this carry thing, you know, and everything. And as he was going out the door, I said, Scott, who did you want us to give your birthday and Christmas presents to? And all of a sudden, he decided he'd stick around a little bit longer. So it's kind of comical. Yeah, and you know, humor is so important when you're a mother. You better have humor or you're done for. Make sure if you have teenagers, even grandmas that have teenagers, because I have great grandchildren that are teenagers even. And you want them to know that you're accessible. You can talk to me. You got a problem? Come to me. I'll be glad to talk to you. We'll talk it over or whatever. And eventually they begin to open up, and it's like, you know, grandmothers can get away with things that parents can't, of course. And so when you get a chance with a grandchild, you just leap in with both feet, because they have that love for you in their hearts, and they're gonna listen, you know. It's like, well, grandma can talk to me about this or whatever, you know. A lot of times they don't want to talk to mom about it. They want grandma. I think I'll go talk to grandma, you know. And that's wonderful. When you can win their confidence like that, that's wonderful. I want to share some things with you that, some laughter and comical things that happened. When Matt was, 10? When you and Keith Runyon used to have your little cars, you know, they had those Matchbox cars, and you could carry them in a case, you know, and him and Keith would make these different ramps and everything, and this was a hospital, and this was where you lived, and this was the market or whatever, and they would play with those cars. Well, this one day they got into an argument, and Keith, we had a broken sidewalk where the winter had cracked it from the winter, and it was in pieces. Well, Keith picked up one of the pieces of the sidewalk, and he's saying to Matt, "I'm taking your sidewalk." So there. And Matt comes in the house, dead serious. "Mom, call the cops," he says. "Call the cops. Keith is stealing our sidewalk." I went out and I said, "Keith Runyon, you get back here. If you don't take the rest of that sidewalk, I think I will call the cops." It was just one of those fun things. Yeah. When Lori was like in 2nd, 3rd grade, they made Thanksgiving cards for moms. And she had made this card of a stick figure. I was the stick figure. And then 7 little turkey stick figures. And on the cover it said, "Come, little turkeys, come to mama." And you opened it up and it said, "Thanks for liking all of us turkeys." We used to post that every year on the refrigerator. And I'm not sure, do you have it, Cindy, or somebody has that?
I think Lori has it.
It might be, yeah, it might be where she has it. It was so comical, we had such fun with it. Cindy, when she was in the 5th grade, this is my daughter Cindy here.
You're all getting it, huh? You guys are all done.
Today she happens to be an assistant superintendent for the developmentally handicapped program. And when she was in the 5th grade, she was supposed to write a paper.
It was 3rd grade.
Was it 3rd? Okay, 3rd grade. She was supposed to write a paper, and the teacher stressed, "You're not to copy anything out of a book. This is to be your own words." Well, she wrote about this one bird that she had seen in the encyclopedia, and she wrote down what the caption was, where the person went to the door, threw open the door, looked up in the blue, blue sky and said, "How could a bird dare to be so white?" She wondered aloud. Then she had in parentheses, "See Mount Rushmore, page 77, you know. The teacher said, "Cindy, did you copy this out of a book?" "No, she didn't copy it out of a book." The teacher said, "I cannot tell you how hard my husband and I laughed at that, and her saying no, she had not copied that, and it was all her words." It was so funny. Then Kathy, a year ago, I got the children all shirts that said, "I'm Mom's favorite." They used to always argue, "I'm Mom's favorite," you know. Maybe they'd be at the house and I'd have one scoop of chocolate chip left, and then some other type of ice cream, and whoever got the chocolate chip scoop said, "Hey, I'm Mom's favorite because I got the only scoop left of the chocolate chips ice cream." So I said, "I want you all to open your presents at the same time," and all of them opened up, "I'm Mom's favorite." Kathy stayed with me for about 10 days when I went through my surgery on my knee. And she said, "Mom, I want you to do something with mine. I want you to notarize mine so that it's legal." So one of the ladies at our church was a notary public, and she notarized her shirt. And then I had her notarize my shirt that says, "Kathy's my favorite, and that's that." And I said, any one of them could have come to me and asked me to do that, and I would have done it for any one of them, or all of them. My son Scott, he said, well, he didn't need his notarized, because he knew he was my favorite. And then he went over to my sister Carol and he said, "Boy, I really thought I was Mom's favorite." He says, "I'm getting on shaky ground here." So then that's what Kathy did. Scott, when he was little, from the time he was little, he was accident prone. He had one of the Gumbies. Do you ever remember having the Gumbies? And they have a little wire in them so you can bend them into whatever position you wanted them. Well, his one had a wire that was hanging out. And being the adventurous kid that he was, he decides he's going to get on the table, and there was one light out of the chandelier. And he stuck the Gumby in there, and it threw him against the wall and down.
So that's what's wrong with him.
So that's where it started. And I want to tell you that he's a miracle. He's a miracle. When he was 19, he fell off of a roof 35 feet. Shattered the bone in heel bone. They had to make ankles for him. Had 3 cracked ribs and a broken arm. And took all summer healing him up from that. 2 years later, well, he had gone to college for that first year, and he decided he wanted to make money, and that's how he happened to be roofing with his brother. His brother was a roofer.